Normally, I would sort of give local York into the story that I'm telling, and I could talk tonight about the courage that it took to ask people to give money during a pandemic, or the amazing feats of courage that I've seen from our nonprofit community, from our leaders over these past 2 years. But I decided instead I'm going to tell just a small personal story. So about 2 years ago, 2 summers ago, we were camping. I was camping with my family, and we were at one of those campgrounds that had lots of kids stuff. It was very family-friendly, pool, jumping pad, mini golf, and we were hanging out at a playground, and it was early evening. My daughter Holden was over playing with some kids that they had met earlier that day, and my son, GB, who was 6 at the time, came over to me and he asked me, "Mom, how does Holden make friends so easily, and why is it so hard for me?" And that was like a real punch in my gut at that moment, because I had not even recognized that to be a thing. I had no idea that was something that he was struggling with. And granted, we had just been isolated from the world at home for a few months, right? And he had only been in kindergarten for half a year before he was plucked out and sent home. So I didn't really get to witness him in that social environment. But I did recognize when I looked back that, I had never really heard him talk about any kids from school, or when he did bring a kid up and then I would ask their name, he could never tell me their name. But that was all hindsight, right? In the moment, this was not something that had even registered as a thing for me. So a few months later, we got a little bit of an explanation when GB was diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum. So GB has what we used to refer to as Asperger's syndrome. And so what that means is it's difficult for him to read social cues. It's tough for him to be able to anticipate sort of human emotions or reactions and then gauge his own reactions to them. And so this diagnosis has allowed us to sort of reframe the situation and to help him figure out how to navigate a social world. And so what we've noticed is he'll ask questions a lot of times when we're watching TV or we're watching movies. You can tell that he's really studying the characters and their emotions. So he'll say "So is she really annoyed with him, but she's pretending like she's not annoyed with him?" Or "Does he not really like that, but he's acting like he likes that?" And one time he asked me, he said, "Is Flippy doing sarcasm?" And so Flippy is their nickname for my husband, Philip. And yes, he usually is probably doing sarcasm. So this is GB's way of trying to understand the emotions that he's seeing and try to understand and navigate these human interactions. And then we were also able to understand that we had to sort of help him and take him step by step through the process of making friends and interacting with kids at school, right? These situations that seem to come so naturally to us, he needs to have them spelled out. So things like, you should know the names of the kids in your class. Or how to recognize if someone is open to you approaching them. So a smile is a good indicator that someone is being friendly. Or if someone says hi to you, you should say hi back. If someone says bye to you, you should say bye back. These little things, and we've practiced them. And this year, I have been able to see, when he comes out of school at the end of the day, he's usually talking to another kid. When we walk out of the gates at the playground and someone says goodbye to him, he says goodbye back. So we're seeing these small victories. But this winter, I was cleaning his room, and I noticed a piece of paper taped to the wall by his bedroom door. And so I went and took a look at the piece of paper, and it was a list that he had written out himself in crayon. And it had 4 things on the list, and it said, help them out, make eye contact, be kind, say bye to them. And I was so proud, right, that he had prioritized this, and it was so important to him to sort of nail these interactions that he hung this sign by his door so he would remember it every day before he went to school. But it was also another one of those gut punch moments, right, because I realized how hard it is for him to do these things that most of us don't even have to think about. And I realized in that moment the courage that it really takes for my 8-year-old son to go to school and interact with his classmates, and the courage that it takes for him to just be himself. So I wanted to share that story tonight because I think that it's important for us to acknowledge and to recognize some of these small courages that we probably don't even know about and have never seen. The small courages that it takes sometimes, especially in these past 2 years, to just like get through the day, right? Or the courage that it takes sometimes to be ourselves. And also I wanted to share because I think it's really good advice to help them out, to make eye contact, to be kind, and to say bye to them. Thank you.